stand on the Pont Neuf today, and you are standing on the oldest bridge in Paris, a city that has been burning, rebuilding, and reinventing itself for over 2,000 years. Look left, and you see Notre Dame rising from the same island where a Celtic tribe first dragged their fishing boats ashore. Look right, and the Eiffel Tower catches the evening light. This city of revolutions and romance, of guillotines and grand boulevards, did not arrive fully formed. It was hammered into shape by conquest, catastrophe, and the ferocious stubbornness of its own people. So how did a muddy river island become the most visited city on Earth? That story begins 2,000 years ago, and it is stranger and bloodier than you might imagine. For centuries, we have tried to picture what earlier versions of Paris actually looked like. Faded engravings, medieval illustrations, the paintings of artists long dead. But now, using advanced AI techniques, we can breathe life back into those images. You are not just going to learn about Paris, you are going to see it as it actually was. Let us begin at the very beginning. Around 250 BC, a Celtic tribe called the Parisii settles on a small island in the middle of the River Seine. They are fishermen and river traders, and they have chosen their ground well. The island, known today as the Île de la Cité, sits at a natural crossing point. Control the crossing, and you control the trade. The Parisii build no grand monuments. They leave no written records, but they give the city its name. Then, in 52 BC, Julius Caesar arrives. The Romans crush the Parisii during their conquest of Gaul and rebuild the settlement in their own image. They call it Lutetia, meaning, roughly, marshy place. Not exactly inspiring, but practical. Within 2 centuries, Lutetia has grown onto the left bank of the Seine. The Romans build an amphitheater large enough to seat 15,000 people, public baths, temples, and roads so straight they still shape modern street patterns today. For 300 years, life is comfortable if you are a Roman citizen, but empires do not last forever. By the 3rd century, Germanic tribes are raiding from the north. The population retreats back to the fortified island. Lutetia is becoming something else, something that needs a new name. That name arrives with a young woman. In 451 AD, Attila the Hun is marching toward the city, and the population is ready to flee. A girl named Genevieve convinces them to stay and pray. Whether by miracle or luck, Attila's forces change course and spare the city. Genevieve becomes the patron saint of Paris, and the city takes its final name from the tribe that first settled its island. In 508 AD, Clovis I, king of the Franks, makes Paris his capital, converts to Christianity, and the city becomes the political and spiritual heart of a new kingdom. Churches begin to rise. The long process of building the Paris we know has begun. But then come the Vikings. Starting in 845 AD, Norse raiders sail up the Seine and attack the city repeatedly. In 885 AD, a Viking army blockades Paris for months. A few hundred defenders hold the fortified bridges against thousands of Norsemen. The city survives, just barely, but it learns a lesson it will carry for centuries. If you want to keep existing, build stronger walls. By the year 1000, Paris is still small, still centered on its island, but it is growing on both banks. Markets expand, bridges multiply. Power, religion, and commerce are beginning to converge in one place. And soon, Paris announces itself to the world in stone.
In 1163, construction begins on Notre Dame Cathedral. It takes nearly 200 years to complete. Those soaring Gothic arches, the rose windows, the flying buttresses holding up walls so thin they seem to defy gravity. It is a statement carved in limestone. Paris is not just a city anymore, it is an idea. At almost the same time, the University of Paris takes shape on the left bank. Scholars travel from across Europe to study theology, philosophy, and law in the district that becomes the Latin Quarter, named for the language scholars speak. This is where medieval Europe learns how to think. King Philip II, ruling from 1180 to 1223, transforms Paris from a medieval town into a genuine city. He paves the streets, because they are still mud, and he builds the original Louvre, not the museum you know today, but a fortress, its thick walls and moat designed to keep the city safe. By 1300, Paris has around 200,000 people, one of the largest cities in Europe. But wealth attracts enemies, and power makes you a target. The 14th century nearly destroys Paris. First comes famine, as harvests fail across Europe in the 1310s. Then comes the Hundred Years' War in 1337, as England and France tear each other apart over who should rule. And then in 1348, the Black Death arrives by ship. Estimates suggest that between a third and half of Paris's entire population dies. Bodies pile up faster than they can be buried. The smell of death hangs over the city for years. If you survive the plague in Paris in 1348, you watch your world simply end. The city never truly forgets it. By 1420, during the Hundred Years' War, Paris has fallen to the English and their Burgundian allies. For 16 years, the city lives under foreign rule. The French crown flees to the Loire Valley. And then a teenage peasant girl from Lorraine changes the entire war. Joan of Arc arrives in 1429, claiming divine instruction, persuades the uncrowned French heir to give her an army, and leads French forces to lift the siege of Orleans. Her campaign shifts the momentum of the war, and the crown is restored to France. Joan is captured and burned at the stake at just 19 years old. But Paris is liberated in 1436. By 1500, the city is recovering, and the Renaissance is arriving from Italy, bringing with it a new kind of transformation. King Francis I rebuilds the Louvre into a Renaissance palace, invites Leonardo da Vinci to spend his final years in France, and fills Paris with art, architecture, and ambition. The city is becoming elegant. But there is a catastrophic problem. France is split between Catholics and Protestants. On August 24, 1572, that tension explodes. The St. Bartholomew's Day massacre begins as an assassination of Protestant leaders and becomes a citywide slaughter. Catholic mobs hunt Protestants through the streets. Thousands are killed in Paris in a matter of days. Bodies are thrown into the Seine. Estimates suggest 70,000 people die across France. It is one of the darkest chapters in the city's long, dark history. The 17th century brings grandeur. Louis XIV, the Sun King, who rules from 1643 to 1715, makes monarchy itself an art form. He expands the Louvre, builds the Hôtel des Invalides for war veterans, and commissions grand boulevards to project absolute power. Then, in 1682, he makes a decision that will have catastrophic consequences. He moves the royal court from Paris to Versailles. He does not trust the city. Paris has a long memory and a violent temper, and Versailles puts comfortable distance between the king and the mob. But the mob does not forget. By the 1780s, France is bankrupt. Taxes crush the poor, while the nobility pays almost nothing. Bread prices soar. People are starving in the streets of Paris. On July 14, 1789, Parisians storm the Bastille. The French Revolution begins, and Paris is its stage. Within 3 years, the monarchy is abolished. In January 1793, King Louis XVI is executed by guillotine in what is now the Place de la Concorde. Thousands watch. 9 months later, Queen Marie Antoinette follows. The Reign of Terror sees tens of thousands guillotined. Nobles, priests, revolutionaries who were not radical enough. By 1794, Robespierre himself is guillotined, and the terror ends. France is exhausted, traumatized, and searching for someone to hold it together. That someone is a Corsican general named Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon seizes power in 1799, and Paris becomes the capital of an empire. He commissions the Arc de Triomphe to honor his armies. He transforms the Louvre into a public museum filled with treasures taken from conquered nations across Europe. He reforms the legal system with the Napoleonic Code, which still influences law in dozens of countries today. But empires built on conquest do not last. Napoleon's disastrous invasion of Russia in 1812 and his defeat at Waterloo in 1815 end the dream. Paris is left occupied, humbled, and wondering what comes next. What comes next is Haussmann. Napoleon III, who seizes power in 1851, hires Baron Haussmann to redesign Paris entirely. From 1853 to 1870, Haussmann demolishes medieval neighborhoods, replaces narrow winding streets with wide boulevards, and builds the sewers, parks, and uniform facades that define the city's appearance today. The boulevards are beautiful. They are also designed to be impossible to barricade and easy for troops to move through. Beauty and authoritarianism going hand in hand. Haussmann's Paris is the Paris we recognize, but it comes at a cost. Working-class neighborhoods are erased. Thousands are displaced. Then, in 1870, Napoleon III goes to war with Prussia. It is a disaster. The French army collapses within weeks. Prussian forces besiege Paris. The city holds out for 4 months. People eat rats, cats, and zoo animals to survive. Paris surrenders in January 1871. But its humiliation is not finished. In March, Parisian workers established the Paris Commune, a revolutionary government that lasts just 2 months. The French government sends in troops. What follows is the Bloody Week. Between 10,000 and 20,000 people are killed. Paris is traumatized once again by its own country. From those ashes comes the Belle Époque, the beautiful era. From the 1870s to 1914, Paris becomes the world capital of art and culture. The Impressionists are painting light itself. The Moulin Rouge opens in 1889. Émile Zola and Victor Hugo define the age in literature. In 1889, the Eiffel Tower is built for the World's Fair. Parisians hate it at first. They call it an eyesore, a metal monstrosity. Then they keep it. The Paris Metro opens in 1900. The Grand Palais is built. The city is thriving, cosmopolitan, electric. And then, in 1914, the lights go out. World War I nearly breaks Paris. In 1914, German forces come within 30 miles of the city during the First Battle of the Marne. Parisians can hear the artillery from their windows. Taxis are commandeered to rush French troops to the front. The city is saved, barely. 4 years of rationing, air raids, and grief follow. The 20s bring the roaring years. American jazz floods the nightclubs. Hemingway, Fitzgerald, and Picasso make Paris their home. Coco Chanel reinvents fashion from her boutique on Rue Cambon. Paris is alive, electric, the only place that feels entirely itself. But the party cannot last. Fascism is rising across Europe, and in June 1940, German troops march into Paris. The swastika flies over the Eiffel Tower. The city is declared open to avoid destruction. It surrenders without a fight. For 4 years, Paris lives under Nazi occupation. Over 13,000 Jewish Parisians are arrested in the Vel d'Hiv roundup in July 1942 and sent to concentration camps. Most never return. But resistance exists. Ordinary Parisians distribute leaflets, hide refugees, smuggle Allied pilots, and risk everything in small, dangerous ways. In August 1944, Parisians rise up. Barricades go up across the city again. Hitler orders Paris burned. The German commander disobeys. On August 25, 1944, French and American forces enter the city. General de Gaulle walks down the Champs-Élysées in triumph. Paris is free. Recovery takes decades. Post-war Paris becomes a center of existentialism. Sartre and de Beauvoir hold court in cafes, grappling with questions of freedom and meaning after the horrors they have just survived. In May 1968, Paris explodes again, not in war, but in protest. Students occupy the Sorbonne. Workers strike across France. The Latin Quarter fills with barricades and tear gas. The uprising does not topple the government, but it changes France forever, sparking new debates about gender, workers' rights, and the nature of authority. The decades that follow see Paris continue to evolve. The Pompidou Center opens in 1977, shocking traditionalists with its inside-out design. The glass Louvre pyramid arrives in 1989, controversial and then iconic. The city keeps pushing at its own boundaries, sometimes controversially, always passionately. In January 2015, gunmen attacked the Charlie Hebdo offices, killing 12 people. In November of the same year, coordinated attacks across the city kill 130 people. Paris mourns, but it refuses to be broken. In April 2019, Notre Dame Cathedral catches fire. The world watches as the spire collapses. Reconstruction begins immediately. And in 2024, Paris hosts the Summer Olympics, opening its arms and its river to the world. 2,000 years, from a Celtic fishing village on a muddy island to the city of light. Paris has been conquered by Romans and Vikings, devastated by plague and revolution, occupied by the English, by the Prussians, by the Nazis. Its own people have turned on each other with guillotines and rifles and burning barricades, and every single time the city has rebuilt. Paris is not perfect. Its history is carved with violence and oppression and profound darkness. But this is also the city that gave the world the idea that ordinary people have the right to shape their own future, that freedom is worth fighting for, even when it costs everything. For better and worse, Paris has never stopped fighting for that. Thanks for watching. Creating videos like this takes an enormous amount of research and time. It is mainly a passion project for me, piecing together 2,000 years of history into one story. If you enjoyed this journey through Paris, from its Celtic origins to the city we know today, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribed for more deep dives into history. And let me know in the comments which city you would like to see next. As always, we'll see you in the past.